Hello, everyone, and welcome to the HHWShow podcast featured by the CMG Central. If you are listening to us live here on YouTube and on Facebook, thank you for watching. But at the same time, if you waiting or whatever it is, you can also track us down on your favorite podcast platform, which is Spotify, Google, Amazon, Apple, TuneIn, and much, much more. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is our final episode of the year, and we'll be back in January. But in this episode, is very important. We're going to close it out real good because there's a lot to take and a lessons learned with Sami Zayn and how he came about being with the Bloodline. And I know Frank, he's with us. And big shout out to our boy Hector V, who couldn't be with us tonight due to personal reasons. We just want to send our condolences to Hector and his whole entire family. Your thoughts and prayers are always with us. And hopefully you get back to us soon. But in the meantime, Frank, you've been MIA for a while, so you're back, and I know this the schedule conflict and everything else is just it just happens. But the last pay-per-view happened this past weekend, Survivor Series War Games. It lived up to its hype, I believe. There's a lot of mixed reactions, but we're gonna take us through a little bit on that before we do our takeaway. So the Survivor Series, man, overall, what was your rating? If you was to grade it A, B, C, or D, what would be your grade?
I would have graded it a B, just like a mid-level B, not really high, not really low, but just
Mhm.
just right there in the middle, a B. I don't think it was sour. I think they had the matches were good. It was a long time coming. All these matches build. It was great. The matches were awesome. The and I just to me it's just the whole how long it takes to actually for the match to really kick off.
Right.
You
So you
know,
talking about the War Games because I think
correct.
it took like every 3 minutes or so, the next person will come into the ring, right? And it's different
Right.
than the Battle Royal, the Royal Rumble, excuse me, where like at a certain time someone's coming in because there's always action going on. But this
Hmm.
was a little bit different because it was team versus team, and there are times you were just being outnumbered, right? And we'll
Correct.
start off with the War Games, the women's War Games. Yeah, Bianca Belair, Alexa Bliss, Asuka, Mia Yim, and Becky Lynch. They defeated Bailey, Dakota Kai, Io Sky, Nikki Cross, and Rhea Ripley. Uh, I was surprised that Becky Lynch herself got the victory. She got the pin. So she jumped off from the steel cage,
Hmm.
landed on damage control, and pinned them 1, 2, 3. And just thought about me like I think there's a big problem with this because the Monday Night Raw, she Becky Lynch is handling her business by herself versus Bailey in the damage control, and yet there's no Bailey, there's no Asuka, right? There's
Hmm.
no Alexa Bliss. I mean, what's going on? Like, where's the
Well,
disconnect?
well. Also realize that Becky's always been a loner. Becky hasn't always been a team player.
Mm-hmm.
So when she teamed up with Belair, with Alexa Bliss, and so forth, it's just a team up. They had a common interest. Becky's
Mm-hmm.
always had issues with Bailey,
Right.
so it's you know the enemy. What is it? The enemy of my friend. No, the enemy of my enemy is my friend.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go.
Yeah, but
Why
look, man, if you ask someone to be by your side to be in your team, it's one thing.
hmm
But then on the next episode, when she's being outnumbered, you mean to tell me that they couldn't help Becky Lynch out? I think that's a big problem moving on forward. Okay. Because look, I could see Becky Lynch going after Bianca Belair later just to try to get that belt back. Okay, I can see that happening. Yes, she gave her respect. She lost at WrestleMania. She got it. But then there comes a time where now you need reason. This is step one. This is the reason. Look, I had your back. Now you couldn't get my back. All right.
I
I
I don't see it that way.
feel, huh?
I don't see it that way. I see it as, hey, yesterday we were a team. The the game is over. Okay, I just jumped on your team just for that game. Now I'm back to where I have to be, and I gotta handle my business without you.
Right.
So and you could compare it to athletes. Athletes jump from one team to another. Okay, tomorrow they're battling somebody else, but they're no longer on that team.
Okay, I
So it
got
kind
you.
of works the same way.
Well, we're gonna revisit that, and I think that our answers may be answered by the time we hit the Royal Rumble. But speaking about that, the men's war games, all right, featured the Bloodline taking victory over Sheamus and his team, and I tell you what, and we're gonna talk about Sami Zayn, but I loved how the development of this match came to be because it was worth watching. It really was. Um, I'd enjoyed it. Okay. Drew McIntyre, Kevin Owens, Rich Holland, Butch. These guys did a fantastic job in that ring. Okay. But the bloodline, my prediction was wrong. I was right that the bloodline were gonna win, but I had thought that it was going to be an extra body. Because it seemed like every episode, every time the bloodline had something going on, somebody else came in. And it was like that family was getting bigger and bigger. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Um, because now they got Solo Sakai over there, Sami Zayn, and then the way that it ended, because Kevin Owens could have won it, right? He could have pinned Roman
yeah,
Reigns,
Roman Reigns.
but Sami Zayn to me was probably the MVP, okay, of that match, probably the most valuable superstar of the whole entire night.
Yeah, no, I think he was. I mean, he's the one that saved that 3 count.
Hmm.
He was like, no, that's not happening on my watch. So
No, you're right. But I like that, and again, we're gonna talk more about the bloodline later on. But I'm just interested to see what's gonna happen on SmackDown. You know, now what is Drew McIntyre? What is Sheamus? What are those boys are gonna do now that that is over? The War Games are over. What do you think is next for them?
man, I don't know because war games. It's supposed to end it. Whatever feuds they had. So I mean, let's see what new feuds come out of this. I mean, I can't even imagine what's going to be next for them, or even what's next for the bloodline in general. I mean, maybe it's TikTok time again. Who knows?
Oh,
You
I'm
know?
glad you mentioned that because Karen Cross already mentioned he's still after Roman Reigns, and he said he don't need help to get to him, right? And then the fact of the matter is that I feel like he's gonna take the Usos down. Okay. And I don't think anyone in the bloodline can handle Karen Cross. I don't think so.
Maybe Solo. Solo's a big guy.
Nah, bro. I'm
He's a
sorry.
pretty big dude, man.
He
I think
can't take
Solo
him on.
can. I think he
I
can.
I don't think Solo can, bro. Not Karen Cross. Not once that hourglass is there, and Charlotte. Oh, not Charlotte. Excuse me. Scarlett is by his side. This dude is unbeatable, man. He really is.
Mm.
Well, we'll see on there. On the other side, Ronda Rousey's victory over Shotzi, I think it was the most least appealing of the whole entire night.
Oh, sorry. I think I took a bathroom break.
Did you
Yeah.
really? Uh huh.
Yeah, I honestly I forgot that match even happened. Um I don't even know why Ronda Rousey even has the title. I don't like her wrestling skills. I think
I think she got good wrestling skills. What I don't like is she doesn't have any mic skills because I'm not really entertained with the mic. And with her and Shayna Baszler, it's almost like they need a manager
yes, they
so they can
probably
speak
do.
on their behalf. I like Paul Heyman. Okay. At first, he led everything, and now little by little, you see Roman Reigns now on the mic, and it's more meaningful and everything else. You see Brock Lesnar on the mic now than more than ever before. You know what
Oh,
I mean?
listen, Brock Lesnar has become phenomenal on the mic,
Oh, he's
and I
himself. He's
think
having fun.
right, and I think with a lot of these superstars
Hmm.
that are not that good on the mic do need somebody like a Paul Heyman, which you know you're speaking, and Paul Heyman's awesome. You cannot beat that guy, with words because he comes
Oh
back,
no, you
and
can't. Yes.
sometimes that's what people need in order to keep going. Because I mean, look, it's like you said earlier, when Roman Reigns came back right after his leukemia battle, was it or COVID or whichever one it was, he had Paul Heyman. Before that, Roman Reigns on the mic was horrible.
Right.
Now Roman Reigns is on the mic a little more, and he's better. He's a lot better than where he was, and that's
He's
why thanks to
he's
Paul
being
Heyman.
more Uzi, baby. That's all he is. Being more Uzi.
He's being more Uzi, I guess. Yeah,
Yeah.
you
But as
know.
far as Ronda Rousey is concerned, again, it's like okay, she got the victory. It was expected. It was predictable. And then the way that they trying to like push Shotzi in the picture to give her that meaning, it's a little bit too late because
Yeah.
it's not like Shotzi was being bullied throughout the whole entire storyline, you know,
Hmm.
and then she became the number one contender, and for a short minute, then all of a sudden now she got her match. I think there needs to be more so that we can have more involvement with this match. And that's pretty much the way I see it. It's like there wasn't enough to gain from this match. It wasn't.
No, there
But
wasn't. The storyline
another
wasn't
match
built.
that I left question was AJ Styles versus Finn Balor. Like the way it ended, it let a bad taste in myself. And I'm glad that they had a rematch on Monday Night Raw
Hmm.
because AJ Styles has his signature move and he didn't use it at War Games, and I'm left to question what happened for the match to be cut out because it was a great match. It just the finish left me scratching my head. It's like AJ Styles doesn't normally just end it with a jump in the air on the ropes and punch him in the face and get that 3 count. It just doesn't end that way, especially with Finn Balor. But
Who knows,
Monday
man? That
Night
could have
Raw,
been time constraints.
yeah, I could be. But Monday Night Raw made it up because the Judgment Day did prevail once again, you know. And you thought that Mia Yim was the answer. Mia Yim, the only thing great about her is that she ended up slamming Finn Balor. That was pretty
Yes.
cool. Pretty cool.
Yeah. I mean, I would have thought that you would have had some type of war games like what they did on Monday night.
Hmm.
I would have thought they would have had that in Survivor Series. That what is it, 4-on-4?
Right.
I
Well,
I thought they would have had that.
yeah. But the other match that left me well, my jaw dropping just like the fans was Austin Theory becoming the United States champion. So he's now a two-time U.S. champion, defeating Seth Rollins and Bobby Lashley, and all because it was Bobby Lashley's assist. Okay, because he speared
Hmm.
Seth Rollins while Seth Rollins was going to suplex Austin Theory, and it just
Hmm.
happened that Theory just landed on top of Rollins for the 3 count.
Yeah, I wasn't too thrilled about Austin Theory. I'm not sold on him
I
completely
am.
yet.
What do you mean you're
Uh,
not thrilled with Austin Theory?
at all. I
Why?
mean, because you know what? I'm not. I'm not.
Okay,
I'm not
tell
sold
me
on him.
more. Why are you not invested in Austin Theory?
I can't even answer that because I'm not. I think his wrestling skills are good. I don't
Dude,
like his.
that dude guys is the total package. I'm gonna tell you this. So you're probably like that because he was Vince McMahon's boy, right?
Probably.
But then you look at it, and the turning point of his career will be when he lost the briefcase. You see his attitudes change. You don't see him with the cell phone anymore. You don't see him gloating. He's not showboating. He's not showing off to
True.
people. He's not saying like, "Oh, he's the youngest, the baddest, or whatever." It almost sounds like EST in a way, but
Yeah.
now he's more serious. He's meaner. He has grit, and that's what you're supposed to have. His attitude has changed. He doesn't want to be considered as the kid, and now that is the tease. He's a kid towards Seth
Correct.
Rollins, right? And he can't
Correct.
stand that. Okay, but he already knows. And I think there's a little bit of hesitation because he knows one on one, he cannot beat Seth Rollins.
Definitely not. No, I mean you're probably right. I think my bitterness on him was the push he was getting prior to, so that's maybe why I'm not sold on him just yet.
Hmm.
There has been a change. Um, we'll see how it goes. I mean, you know me. One day I might like it. One day I might not.
Now, I
You
think
know,
this part right here of this Austin Theory, I like, but eventually it's not gonna last long for him because not everybody holds on to the US title for that long, you
right?
know, and eventually it's gonna be taken away. We might see him disappear for a while, and then he becomes a new person, and when he becomes a babyface, and it's identical to John Cena's career. I really do feel like that's what's happening.
Maybe, maybe. I mean, well, no, he's not going to be identical to John Cena's career because John Cena's career.
John
If I'm not
Cena was a
mistaken,
heel.
John Cena. Are you sure?
Yeah, he was a heel.
When was he the heel? Because I don't remember him
Bro,
being the heel.
nobody liked him at the beginning. And then he left. And then all of a sudden, he came back with his new gear, with his shorts. He wasn't coming
Oh,
up
he
with
became the
baggy
rapper.
clothes. Yeah, he was that
Okay.
thugonomics at the beginning, nobody liked.
Right.
Then all of a sudden, now he became John Cena. The time is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then it took off, and he could never be a bad guy anymore because of the stuff that he does. You know,
Right.
so I like it, man. I'm just saying I'm digging what's going on with Austin Theory, but I know at the same time it's not gonna last long. It's not.
All
So
right. We'll see. We'll see how long it goes.
yeah. But you know what? I'm gonna ask you this next question. How long is going to last for Sami Zayn? How long will he be with the bloodline? That is a great question to come up with coming up next in our takeaway. Sami Zayn got himself involved with the bloodline. But before we even get to that timeline, I want to take you back to where he first started. Looking at this picture, Sami Zayn is in the corner squatting down, either, I don't know, waiting for his next opponent or he just got finished with a battle. But you see how he's got a nice haircut, trim beard, and everything else. He looked focused. He looked determined to be one of the greats in the WWE. And also came along with his buddy Kevin Owens. And both these superstars go way back at the time in the independent industry to NXT, and now they're in the main roster. And they did a fabulous job until he backstabbed them, right? Kevin Owens backstabbed Sami Zayn many times. Uh, the picture in this one, they're arguing, they're hugging it out, and it's been like that throughout the whole entire time. But if you look throughout his career, he was always the conspiracy theory type of guy, right? That there's always a conspiracy going on in the WWE. First, it was about his Intercontinental Championship, and then it was just other things that he was trying to do film to prove his point. But when nobody's listening to him, nobody cared about this guy. And then all of a sudden, he steps foot into the bloodline. And if you look at this picture here, holding his finger up, number one, and being down with the bloodline after their victory, to get a hug from the tribal chief, to get a hug by Jay Uso, man, that took a lot. Took a lot for a proper respect. Okay. Now we could all learn from Sami Zayn. We can. Okay. And as I talk about his timeline, to fast forward point in the middle to where he was in SmackDown, that nobody cared about Sami Zayn. Sami Zayn was this guy that he irritated people, right? Okay, yeah, you hear, and then you try to put yourself in far distance away from this guy. Okay. It was so bad that his former peoples didn't want to be with him no more. Okay. So what happened? What gave in? Okay. From a guy like him who was supposed to be ears around the locker room to all of a sudden talking to Roman Reigns, and that battle between him and Jey Uso not getting along until now, I mean, it's remarkable. Okay. Remarkable. So how can we relate this to our real life?
Well, let's start here. Sami Zayn complained, complained, complained. That's in essence is what he did.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he complained and screamed conspiracy against him. Right, everybody was always against him. Nobody liked him. Right, and he turns around now and he goes after the top dog. And what I mean by going after him is he's kissing his ass, telling him, "Hey, this is what people are saying. Hey, this is what people are gonna do." So after a while of you kissing somebody's rear end all the time, okay, that person's gonna turn to you and be like, "All right, perfect, thank you." They're gonna start bringing you in more. Guess what? They're accepting him now because why? Because he's watching Roman's back that maybe other people weren't outside of the bloodline.
And inside the bloodline, because the tag team champions were on a debacle, right? They do something
Correct.
good and then they do nothing good. So it's
Right.
like that little obstacle that they had to deal with Roman Reigns. You're right.
Mm-hmm. So and every single time, Sammy was there. You know. So he starts getting liked by Roman Reigns. Jimmy Uso could probably see. I'm sorry, not Jimmy. Jay doesn't trust Sammy.
So when you say
You
you
know.
don't trust, right? Was he like, could you say he was being a little racist towards Sami Zayn? Think about
No,
it, because he kept saying, well, he's not in the blood. He's not family.
because he's not family.
Do you
He's
have to
not
be
blood
blood to be
family.
family?
No, you don't.
Okay,
But,
then.
but now, when it comes down to it, if I had to pick blood,
Maybe it wasn't racist. Maybe he was being prejudiced.
maybe he was being jealous.
Okay.
Okay, that Sammy's being accepted by Roman and the others, and Jay, for whatever reason, doesn't want to accept him just yet. Okay, so when that happens, you start asking, why are you accepting this guy? This guy is not one of us.
I
Okay,
won't say jealousy. I don't think it's
you
jealousy.
you might be right. It might be a little bit of maybe a little bit of prejudice. I don't want to say racist, but it all might intertwine a little bit.
Right?
You
But at
know,
the same time, he's really looking after the family,
correct.
because the family has morals. It has a lot of theme into it, to where um how you say it, there's that respect, right? And
Hmm.
you're looking at this guy like Sami Zayn. Nobody respect this guy, and now he's around, and it's an annoyance. But instead of being annoyed, you're right. He's helping everybody out. But Jay's blind. He's blind.
Hmm.
He doesn't see the big picture like Roman Reigns sees it.
Correct. Correct. So that that could be part of it. I mean, it could be a bunch of things, really.
Hmm.
He probably didn't expect for Sammy to be the way he is. Maybe they had some issues in the past that he couldn't get over, and maybe now he's over them. But who knows? Who knows what's going to lie next? I don't think Jay's accepted Sammy completely. But that's my opinion. I think there's something more there.
Well, I tell you what, it might be a little bit more. Um, and we'll get to it because again, will Jay Uso hold grudge of what happened on Monday night because the fact that he lost the match, right? So it's like, what do you do? You know what I mean? And then it's like, let's take it back. I think Sami Zayn did prove a point that he is with the bloodline because he sees that he was being welcomed. And he keeps saying that every week. Nobody wanted him. Nobody acknowledged him to be a friend. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then on top of all that, he gained that respect from Roman Reigns and showing that he chose Jay Uso over Kevin Owens spoke more volume than everything else because they say action speaks louder than words, right?
Definitely, definitely. I mean,
Mhm.
that does speak volume for Sammy. I
Mhm.
mean, but then again, when you look at it, he turned his back on Kevin Owens. I mean, that's a little tick for tat because how many times has Kevin Owens done the same to Sammy? You know,
Right.
so when you see that, you know, it's all right. I turn my back on you. Could this be a plot by Sami Zayn?
Do
Who
you
knows?
think? Do you think?
I I think so. I think there's bigger things brewing than
But
what
uh,
you
but
know.
uh, I find that hard to believe though. In a sense, like I know everyone's wanting for Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens to um partner up and dismantle the Usos, right?
Hmm.
It may be so. And I think it's gearing to that direction only because now Kevin Owens said, I want nothing to do with you, Sami Zayn. I want nothing to do with you. You and me, we're over. You know what I mean? For all that we
Hmm.
went through, I don't got no piece of you. But he did say, well, you, Jey Uso, because Jey Uso tried to step up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think he could have just said, you know what, Sami Zayn, let's get out of here. But it didn't. Now he's showboating and be like, oh shit, well, it more like, hey, Sami Zayn, I accept you now. You part of the bloodline now. You know, um, but it could be a possibility. It can be.
Could
You know,
be.
I didn't think about that right now, but I thought that maybe that theory was, gone. But you might have a point. But at the same time, it's kind of hard to accept that because of the fact that this guy hugged Roman Reigns. He went face
Okay.
to face with him. He explained to him why he lied to Jey Uso. And I give
Okay.
him props because I would have said the same thing too. You know, you're about to have a match. Why do I need to fire this guy up to get distracted? He need to be focusing on his match. You know what I mean? And then to
Right.
tell Roman Reigns the truth, like, yeah, I didn't tell him because of this and that. Not only did he give him an answer, he gave him an explanation. And then
Okay.
let's put it this way: for Roman Reigns, he showed great leadership because not only did he hear him, it showed on Survivor Series that instead of sending the twin over there, right, Jimmy Uso to help Jay, he was like, Sami Zayn goes, he's next. And I
Hmm.
love that part, man. I really do. Because it showed like you saw how they weren't working together at the beginning, but at
Right.
the end, they decided, you know what? Now it's time to work together. He's seen how he stopped the referee from the 3 count. He's seen that low blow he gave to Kevin Owens. And then he's telling Jay, hey, listen, finish it. Let's go. So he's
Hmm.
dictating. He's being the honorary Uce. So I just don't see how all this comes to play that they're going to backstab him. Or is it because you have to put yourself in a position to get really, really, really close so you could blindside them?
The closer you bring them, remember this:
Hmm.
keep your friends close, but you keep your enemies closer.
Okay.
Remember that. Someone is gonna turn. I'm not sure who's gonna turn on who yet,
Hmm.
but someone's gonna turn. Watch. They're gonna
All
bring them
right.
in really, really close.
I just can't wait until the time comes. And then usually when we're about to sign off from the show, there's something big happens. You know what I mean? And something
Always.
big has to happen before the new year is over.
Well, we might end up doing a show. Who knows? If something big happens, we gotta figure that out.
Oh man, there's just plenty of wrestling that's coming up. And once again, you can tune into the HHW show. It's gonna be popping even more, even though with our absence on social media, but on the website it'll be updated because look, not only that WWE storylines are getting up there, but you have the Northeast Wrestling, you got the Ultimate Woman of Wrestling that's coming up. There's just so much independent wrestling and the fact that
A lot.
this is almost geared to the end of the year, man. So, but stay tuned to this, and also our top 25 WWE superstars is coming up, and the only way you could catch that is on Spotify, Google, all right, Amazon. I mean, you name it on your
Apple.
favorite audio podcast platform because it's coming up soon. So stay tuned to that and you'll find it up to date on the HHW Show website. That's hhwshow.com. Frank, I appreciate you talking, man. It's been real. Once
Yes, it
again, our
has.
condolences to Frank, not Frank, to Hector and his whole entire family. And Frank, man, this guy's doing his podcast inside his car. He's always busy doing his thing, but he also got another podcast called Speaking It Real. Tune into his YouTube and Facebook channel. And of course,
Wednesday nights.
myself, Wednesday nights, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can also check out CMG Central for all 4 downs as we get set, ready to go for the college football conference championship that's coming up this weekend. So there's a lot going on. But my friend, thank you so much. Take care. And for everyone else, have a safe night, a safe week, and let's enjoy some good old wrestling, shall we? Take care, everyone.